Hey everybody, Gary here with Guitar Tricks, and in this video we're going to go over what kind of guitar should you start with, an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar. So there's a lot of good reasons why you might want to start with the acoustic or the electric, but to me it depends on the individual and what your goals are. So we're going to go over the advantages of both and why one or the other might work for you. Before we get into it, please go ahead and click subscribe so that you get all the latest and greatest content from Guitar Tricks. Alright, let's start with the acoustic guitar. So the first reason why you might want to start with an acoustic guitar is that you don't need anything but the guitar. No amplifier, no cables, no electricity. You could bring it wherever you want, you could play it wherever you want, and it's always going to sound the same. Reason number two for why you might want to start with an acoustic guitar, and for me this is the most convincing argument, is that an acoustic guitar does not lie. It's going to give you honest and transparent feedback for everything you play. What I mean by that is on an electric guitar, you can hide behind volume, effects, distortion, all sorts of tones where you might be kind of messing up sometimes and you don't even hear the mistakes because of all the things going on the amp. On an acoustic guitar, if there's one little thing wrong, here I'm going to play a C chord. Ooh, that one note isn't ringing out. I'm going to hear that very clearly on an acoustic, where I might not hear that so clearly on an electric. And also with single notes. Ooh, did you hear that? That one note wasn't kind of ringing out that good. So you're going to hear everything crystal clear, and that's going to guide you to develop really good technique, and then building that foundation, you could then bring that to the electric guitar. So the other way around doesn't quite work so well. Same thing, but all I heard was some cool reverb and some distortion. I didn't really pay attention to, I could play that more clean, or with chords. All I hear is a mush of cool sound. I don't really hear each note in the chord, and I can't really tell what's going on. And even on the clean sound. So I have to work a little harder to make sure that everything is perfect on the acoustic, whereas on the electric, it just kind of sounds cool even when there's little minor mistakes. Alright, so now I've got the electric guitar, and here's two reasons why you might want to start with electric. Number one is because it inspires you. Maybe the reason why you or someone you love wants to learn how to play guitar is because you like stuff that sounds like this. You just want to rock out. So starting with the electric, you could access those sounds right away. You can get yourself a distortion pedal, you can get an amp that has some built-in effects, and right away from day one you can do this. Or even with single notes. And that's going to inspire you, whereas on an acoustic, if you tried to do the same thing, it's not going to sound quite as rock and roll. So if accessing those electric sounds right away is going to inspire you, then that's a good reason. Now the second reason why you might want to start with an electric guitar is that it's generally easier to play. The strings are usually thinner, meaning the gauge of the strings. So when you buy a set of electric guitar strings, you could get anywhere from what they call 7s to 11s, and that refers to the thickness, the gauge of the high E string. So I use 10s. That means the gauge of my high E string is 10 and my low E string is about 46. So the strings are thinner. They're also a nickel alloy material, meaning they're part steel, part nickel, and this makes the string tension less. Whereas on my acoustic, the high E string is a 12 and the low E string is like a 54 or something like that. So the strings are bigger. That means there's more tension and the material is a little denser. So all of that means a little more finger pain. Now there are exceptions to the rule. You can get really thin strings for your acoustic guitar, but the tone might suffer, as will the intonation. And intonation is when your guitar is totally in tune in all areas of the neck. On an acoustic guitar, as you start to get thinner strings, the guitar might start to be out of tune as you get in this area. But if you're just starting out, you might not be going in this area much anyway. So you just kind of do whatever you need to do to keep playing and keep your fingers feeling all right and stay inspired. But now on a nylon acoustic guitar, the strings are actually easier to press down than on both electric and steel string acoustic because they're made out of plastic. And they're also nice and big and round, so they don't make that sharp indent in your fingers. Now for a complete rundown on the difference between a nylon acoustic and a steel string acoustic, check out that video. We made a whole 10-minute video just on that one topic. So we'll put a link to that right above. So as you can see, there's no one size fits all for this. Some students are going to be better off starting with an acoustic, some are going to be better off starting with an electric, and there's reasons for both. But I will say from my experience, eventually it's awesome to have one of each and to be able to play both. I often like to say that the acoustic guitar is kind of like when a baseball player in the on-deck circle puts that little donut on their bat, that little extra weight, and they practice swinging. And then when they take that donut off, it's so much easier to swing the bat. I feel that way about acoustic. When I practice things on acoustic, I really hone my technique, and there's a little more resistance, and it's like I said, it's more honest, and I have to work harder to get it to sound really good. But then when I go to the electric, it's like just feels so easy, almost feels like a toy a little bit. And then once I put the effects and the distortion on, it becomes even easier to make things sound good. But the acoustic always lets me know exactly how I'm doing. All right, so keep these ideas in mind as you go out to buy a first guitar for yourself or someone you love. If you want to learn more about playing guitar, head over to guitartricks.com. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Happy playing, have fun, and I'll see you in the next lesson.